Hi community leaders, this is a short video on how to help people who've left their growth group, particularly from the side of what to do on the hub as that happens. Now obviously the work that we do on the hub is a minor part of our work, ticking boxes and pressing the right buttons and writing notes, but what it does is it helps us to focus on the major part of our work, actually caring for those people. If we tick the right buttons and check the right boxes, then it can make sure that people don't fall through the cracks, and we can help people to get back into growth groups and those little communities that gather together around the word, praying together. So let's make sure we get the hub stuff right, and we can focus then on doing great care work. Obviously, then, first step is to find the hub. Two different ways you can find it. One is by going to evchurch.info, the church website, hovering over resources, and down here you can find evHub. Click on that, it'll take you there. Alternatively, you can just write evhub.ccbchurch.com into your browser and go to that. If you'll be prompted to log in, and if you've forgotten your details, then you can talk to your maturity staff or volunteer that's leading you, and they'll help you get back onto the hub. From here, you can see this little notification bell up in the top corner. If I click on that, I can then click on process queues and see who's been assigned to me. So I'll click on that, and I'm going to choose Desmond Demonstration here. I'm going to click on his name. There are a few other people there as well with the start of the year that I'm going to get in contact with once I've learned how to help people who've left groups. So Desmond, I've clicked on his name from the process queue page, and that takes me to a miniature version of his profile. I don't particularly know why the hub does this, but if you want to go to his full profile, which you'll just need to click his name again. That takes you to Desmond's full profile. Now, Desmond's not a real member of our church, however, he is in and out of growth groups, and so he's useful to use for this tutorial. From here, you've got a bunch of different check boxes across the top here. You might have started on the About tab, but click Involvement, and the easiest way to find out which group he has been removed from is to untick Serving, untick Attendance, untick Processes, and untick Forms, and that'll just give you a summary of his history of which groups he has been in and which groups he is in. You can see the most recent group that he's left is Maddie's Night Community Leader Growth Group, and I removed him from that, and I can see when he joined and when he left there as well. So that lets me know I want to get in contact with Maddie. But the first thing I can do though is check the form that Maddie filled out, which resulted in Desmond being put on this queue. And you can watch the video on forms for that. Maddie might have put some comments down for why he's left. But the other option is I just want to call Maddie and see what's going on. And so that first step is actually outlined. If we come back in the miniature profile, and we can see this option here for instructions and show. We can show the instructions for this queue. And what we have here are 3 instructions at the top, these 3, which are really about how to care for Desmond. And then there are 6 options down the bottom, and they're really about how to make sure that the hub is up to date. So the care stuff first, you see the first option there is ring the growth group leader and get him any information from them about why they've left. Could be really simple reasons, could be past really tricky reasons, but work that out with the growth group leader. Once you've had that conversation, the second step is to actually ring Desmond, ring the person who's left, and see why they've left, see if they'd like to return to the group, if they want to find another group, or if they've moved congregation or something like that, moving churches. Work out from them why they've left. And do that work with them, help them land in a group somewhere. And as you go through that process, it may be that there's some feedback that you think would be helpful to give to the growth group leader along the way. And that's the third step here. What would be helpful for the growth group leader to know about the way that they lead, or something for the future, or some assurance about, oh, Desmond has landed over here, that's okay. And you work out what's appropriate and helpful to let the leader know. But that's the care work to do, and the minor part of it is just the hub side of it then as well. So you've got 6 different options there. The first step though, before moving on to the 6 different options, is to mark as done, and then we'll choose one of these 6 options. You can read through those if you'd like. I'm going to mark as done now because I've called Maddie, I've called Desmond, and we've come to a resolution for him. But there are 6 different options depending on that resolution. So the first option is that I could choose for the next queue for Desmond to be to re-establish them in their groups. That Desmond wants to rejoin the group. Whatever the reason was that he needed to leave has been resolved and he wants to be back in there. I click on that and assign him to myself. And that'll help me to follow him up a few weeks later to make sure that he's landed well. And then I would click save. I don't want to, but the second option is different. So perhaps Desmond wants to join a new growth group, different night of the week, different part of town, different people in the group, whatever it is. Click this, again, assign them to yourself so that you can follow them up to make sure they've landed well. A third option is, what if Desmond doesn't want to join a growth group at the moment? Again, you assign them to yourself. This could be because he's sick, unwell, unable to make it. Perhaps Desmond is convinced that growth group isn't the right thing for him to be in at the moment. Whatever it is, it's important to note that. Fourth option is inform the maturity pastor that they're leaving church. This is something we want to jump onto really quickly, just in case there's a reason that someone needs extra care as they're thinking about leading church. Are they moving because of work? And is that a good idea? How can we help them through that? So let us know as quickly as possible. For this time, when you click them, you're not assigning them to yourself. You're going to pick whoever the maturity volunteer or staff is that's supporting you there. And so click that one and they'll be notified about it and get in touch. Another option is they've changed congregation. And so for this one, again, they're moving congregation and they want to be in a group in that new congregation. The membership teams particularly love helping people who are new to congregations get settled into new community. And so here we want to assign it to the membership person from that new congregation, the one that they're landing at. So perhaps Jasper is looking after them, or Josie is. And basically, if they're heading to Sunday EV, Jamie or Jasper, and if they're heading along to EV night, Josie is the person to assign them to. Another option, though, the sixth option, is that they're unable to attend a growth group. They might be sick, perhaps they're overseas for 6 months, whatever it is. Again, assign them to yourself and click save. Now, a few of these will give you an extra little box to tick afterwards. So let's unable to attend group, for example. I'll assign that to myself and click save. And then I'll have another little queue for Desmond. I'll be able to find him again in the notifications, process queues, find Desmond in the unable to attend growth group queue. And this one is simply as administrative. It's just clarifying he has gone through this queue properly. And so you can just mark him as done straight away. Others will have a queue that if you're putting him back in the group or putting him in a new group, there'll be a queue that pops up after a few weeks just to say, hey, can you check again to make sure that he's actually landed there? So keep an eye on your notifications and stay on top of those as much as possible. That's what I'm going to do right now, and care for the people in those groups. And hopefully we'll keep them in groups and keep them trusting in Christ all the way to the end. I hope that was helpful, and great. Hope it goes well.